Welcome back to our channel. Today, we drift into the fascinating world of ancient Egypt as we unravel the mystery of Cleopatra's tomb, the queen who ruled with intelligence, ambition, and unmatched charisma. If you love history, legends, and uncovering secrets from the past, you're in the right place. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe to our channel so you never miss an epic journey through history. Imagine the Nile flowing gently under the scorching Egyptian sun, a river that had nurtured civilizations for thousands of years. On its banks, a young woman named Cleopatra VII came into power, a ruler who would leave a mark on history so profound that her name would be remembered long after the fall of empires. Cleopatra's rise to the throne of Egypt was anything but ordinary. Born into the Ptolemaic dynasty in 69 BCE, she inherited a kingdom that was at once rich in culture and wealth, but deeply unstable politically. The Ptolemies were descendants of one of Alexander the Great's generals, and by Cleopatra's time, the dynasty had intermarried for generations, leading to complex family rivalries and conflicts over succession. Cleopatra's family life was fraught with intrigue, ambition, and danger. She grew up in a palace that was both magnificent and treacherous, where power struggles were constant and loyalty was often conditional. From a young age she had to learn the delicate balance of intelligence, charm, and political savvy to survive and thrive in such an environment. Her education was extraordinary even by royal standards. Cleopatra was highly intelligent, speaking multiple languages fluently, including Greek, Egyptian, and perhaps others from the surrounding regions. This ability to communicate across cultures gave her a unique advantage as a ruler. She could speak directly to her subjects in their own language, understand the nuances of different cultures, and negotiate with foreign powers without relying solely on interpreters or diplomats. Cleopatra was also deeply knowledgeable about Egyptian religion and traditions. She understood the power of symbolism, ritual, and image in maintaining authority and loyalty among her people. Unlike some rulers who relied solely on force or inheritance, Cleopatra recognized that her legitimacy depended on her ability to embody the cultural and spiritual identity of Egypt. Her understanding of religion was more than ceremonial. It was a tool of governance, a way to reinforce her position as pharaoh in the eyes of her people and the world. When she came to power at the age of 18, she co-ruled with her younger brother Ptolemy XIII, as was customary in the Ptolemaic dynasty. But the partnership was fraught with tension. Cleopatra was ambitious and determined to assert her authority, while her brother and his advisors viewed her as a rival. The struggle for control of the throne would become one of the defining conflicts of her reign. Cleopatra's rise was not merely a matter of surviving her family dynamics. It was about positioning Egypt strategically in a world dominated by the rising power of Rome. Rome was expanding rapidly, its legions conquering territories across the Mediterranean. Cleopatra understood that Egypt could not exist in isolation. To protect her kingdom and her dynasty, she needed allies, and she needed to navigate the dangerous politics of Rome with skill and precision. One of her earliest opportunities came through her alliance with Julius Caesar. At the time, Caesar was consolidating power in Rome, embroiled in his own civil war. Cleopatra saw an opportunity to secure her throne by aligning with one of the most powerful men in the ancient world. But this was not a decision made lightly or merely for personal gain. Cleopatra's approach was strategic. She famously had herself smuggled into Caesar's presence wrapped in a carpet, a bold and theatrical move that demonstrated both her courage and her cunning. This audacious entrance was more than spectacle. It was a calculated demonstration of her intelligence, resourcefulness, and willingness to take risks to achieve her goals. The meeting with Caesar resulted in a powerful alliance. Cleopatra secured her position as ruler of Egypt, and Caesar gained a valuable ally in the East. Their relationship, while often romanticized in history, was also a political partnership. Cleopatra's intelligence and political acumen made her a valuable partner to Caesar, and their alliance had significant implications for both Egypt and Rome. But Cleopatra's ambitions extended beyond securing her throne. She sought to strengthen Egypt's position as a powerful and independent kingdom. She understood the importance of economic stability, military strength, and diplomatic alliances. Her reign was marked by efforts to expand trade, strengthen the military, and reinforce Egypt's cultural identity. Cleopatra was deeply aware that her legacy would depend not only on her ability to rule effectively, but also on how she navigated the complexities of power, both within Egypt and on the international stage. Her relationship with Caesar, however, drew Egypt further into the turbulent politics of Rome. When Caesar was assassinated in 44 BCE, Cleopatra faced a new challenge: how to maintain her position and protect her kingdom in a rapidly changing political landscape. This led her to form a new alliance with Mark Antony, another prominent Roman leader. Cleopatra's partnership with Antony was both political and personal. Together they sought to preserve Egypt's independence and challenge the growing power of Octavian, Caesar's heir. Their relationship was characterized by a combination of romance, strategy, and shared ambition. Cleopatra's ability to navigate this partnership demonstrated her remarkable political skill. She understood the delicate balance of power, the importance of appearances, and the need to inspire loyalty among her subjects and allies. Cleopatra's image was carefully cultivated to reinforce her authority and legitimacy. She presented herself not merely as a ruler but as a goddess, a living embodiment of the divine power that had guided Egypt for centuries. This projection of divinity was a powerful tool in maintaining control over her kingdom and negotiating with foreign powers. Cleopatra's reign was also marked by her efforts to engage directly with her people. She traveled throughout Egypt, communicated in the native language, and participated in religious ceremonies. These actions reinforced her image as a legitimate and capable ruler, in contrast to other members of her family who relied solely on force or intimidation. Cleopatra's intelligence, ambition, and strategic thinking made her a formidable ruler in a male-dominated world. She faced constant threats, both internal and external, yet she managed to maintain her authority and navigate the complexities of her time. Her ability to combine diplomacy, political skill, and personal charisma set her apart from other leaders of her era. The young queen's life was a testament to the power of intelligence, courage, and vision. Cleopatra was not content to be a passive figure in history. She actively shaped the course of events, influencing the destinies of kingdoms and empires. Her story is one of resilience, ambition, and the enduring allure of one of history's most fascinating figures. Cleopatra's rise to power was not merely a matter of inheritance. It was the result of careful planning, strategic alliances, and an acute understanding of human nature. She recognized opportunities where others saw danger, and she seized them with boldness and skill. Her reign, while often dramatized in popular culture, was grounded in a deep understanding of politics, diplomacy, and the complexities of leadership. In every aspect of her life, Cleopatra demonstrated a mastery of the art of power. She understood the importance of image, symbolism, and perception. She used her intellect, charm, and strategic insight to navigate a world filled with intrigue, betrayal, and ambition. Her ability to command respect and loyalty was a key factor in her success as a ruler. Cleopatra's story is also a story of adaptation and survival. She inherited a kingdom that faced internal divisions and external threats, yet she managed to maintain stability, strengthen alliances, and project an image of strength and legitimacy. Her life illustrates the complexities of leadership, particularly for a woman in a world dominated by men, and the ways in which intelligence, courage, and strategic thinking can overcome seemingly insurmountable challenges. The legacy of Cleopatra's rise is a reminder that history is shaped not only by the actions of armies and empires, but also by the decisions, intelligence, and ambition of individuals. Cleopatra's life exemplifies the intersection of personal ambition, political skill, and historical circumstance. She navigated the treacherous waters of royal family politics, forged alliances with some of the most powerful men in the ancient world, and maintained the independence and prosperity of her kingdom in a time of great uncertainty. Cleopatra's early reign sets the stage for the dramatic events that would follow in her life. Her relationships with Julius Caesar and Mark Antony, her political maneuvering in the face of Roman expansion, and ultimately the enduring mystery of her death and tomb. Yet it is in these early years, in her rise to power, that we see the essence of Cleopatra: intelligent, ambitious, strategic, and fearless. She was a queen who understood the complexities of power, the importance of alliances, and the value of perception. Her ability to combine intellect, charm, and political skill allowed her not only to survive, but to thrive in one of history's most challenging and fascinating eras. Cleopatra's story, beginning with her ascent to the throne, is a story of resilience, strategy, and the enduring power of a remarkable individual. It is a story that has captivated the world for centuries and continues to inspire fascination and admiration. Her early life and rise to power are a testament to her extraordinary abilities as a ruler and strategist, setting the stage for the legendary events that would define her reign and her place in history. The world Cleopatra entered as a young queen was complex, dangerous, and full of opportunity. She navigated this world with intelligence, courage, and vision, laying the foundation for a reign that would be remembered for millennia. Her story reminds us that history is not only the record of events, but also the narrative of individuals whose ambition, intelligence, and courage shaped the course of civilizations. Cleopatra's rise to power, her mastery of politics, and her understanding of the complexities of her time make her one of the most fascinating figures in history, a queen whose story continues to resonate with scholars, storytellers, and audiences around the world. Centuries after her death, Cleopatra's life was never one of simple monarchy. It was a life intertwined with the fate of empires, a story where personal ambition, love, and political strategy collided in dramatic and often dangerous ways. Her rise to power had already demonstrated her remarkable intelligence and strategic vision, but the alliances she would form with Rome would define the very course of her reign and shape the history of the Mediterranean world for centuries to come. Rome, at this time, was the dominant power of the Western world, and its internal politics were as dangerous as any battlefield. The Republic was in turmoil, torn apart by civil wars, shifting loyalties, and the ambitions of men who sought supreme control. Julius Caesar was one of the central figures of this tumultuous era, a man whose military genius, political insight, and personal ambition were unmatched. Cleopatra understood that in order to protect Egypt, she had to engage with Rome, not merely as a distant kingdom, but as an active player in the power struggles that defined the Mediterranean. When Julius Caesar arrived in Alexandria in 48 BCE following his pursuit of Pompey, Cleopatra saw an opportunity to secure her throne and assert her authority over her brother Ptolemy XIII. The political stakes were enormous. Egypt was vulnerable. A kingdom with immense wealth and strategic significance could easily fall under Roman domination if it failed to navigate the treacherous currents of Roman politics. Cleopatra, recognizing both the danger and the opportunity, acted decisively. She famously had herself smuggled into the royal palace, reportedly wrapped in a carpet, so that she could meet Caesar directly. Whether fact or legend, the story highlights her boldness, cunning, and understanding of symbolism. Cleopatra knew that appearances mattered just as much as political maneuvering. By presenting herself in such an audacious manner, she immediately captured Caesar's attention and demonstrated her intelligence and resourcefulness. Their meeting led to an alliance that would be both political and personal. Cleopatra regained her position as co-ruler. Her brother Ptolemy XIII was eventually defeated, and Egypt entered a new phase in its history, one where the queen herself would play a central role in the power dynamics of Rome. Cleopatra's relationship with Caesar was complex. It was not merely romantic, although their affection for each other is noted by historians. It was deeply political. By aligning herself with Caesar, Cleopatra not only secured her throne but also strengthened Egypt's position in the Mediterranean world. She leveraged Caesar's influence to stabilize her rule, reform her administration, and ensure that Egypt remained a wealthy and independent kingdom in the face of Roman expansion. The implications of this alliance extended beyond Egypt. Cleopatra gave birth to a son, Ptolemy Caesar, known to history as Caesarion, whose very existence represented a link between the Egyptian throne and the Roman leader. Cleopatra's intelligence was evident in her understanding that dynastic legitimacy could be enhanced through this union, and she used her son as a symbol of continuity, political alliance, and divine connection. Caesar, for his part, saw Cleopatra not just as a lover, but as an important ally. Egypt's wealth and strategic location made it a valuable partner for Rome, and Cleopatra's capabilities as a ruler meant that the kingdom could be a stable, reliable source of resources, influence, and political leverage. Together, their relationship reshaped the political landscape of the Eastern Mediterranean. Yet Caesar's assassination in 44 BCE plunged Rome back into civil war and left Cleopatra facing a new challenge. The young queen now had to navigate the dangerous waters of Roman politics without her ally. Egypt remained powerful and wealthy, but its position depended entirely on Cleopatra's ability to forge the right alliances and protect her kingdom from external threats. It was in this context that Cleopatra turned to Mark Antony, one of Caesar's most loyal supporters and a powerful figure in the Roman world. Antony was a man of immense energy, charisma, and ambition, but also of temperament that could be volatile and impulsive. Cleopatra recognized that an alliance with Antony could secure Egypt's future, protect her own position, and counter the growing influence of Octavian, the future Emperor Augustus. The relationship between Cleopatra and Antony was extraordinary in both its political and personal dimensions. Unlike her earlier alliance with Caesar, this partnership involved a much more intricate interplay of strategy, romance, and shared ambition. Antony and Cleopatra became inseparable in many ways, with Antony spending extended periods in Egypt, often accompanied by Cleopatra's political and cultural influence. Their relationship was also a demonstration of Cleopatra's skill in diplomacy and projection of power. She presented herself not only as Antony's lover, but as his equal and a sovereign in her own right. She hosted lavish ceremonies, engaged in political discourse, and used her intelligence and charisma to exert influence over both Antony and the decisions that would affect Rome and Egypt. Together, they embarked on campaigns and projects that reflected their shared ambition. Cleopatra's involvement in Antony's plans for the eastern provinces of Rome allowed her to extend Egypt's influence and secure advantages for her own kingdom. She understood that by aligning herself with Antony, she could protect Egypt from the encroaching power of Octavian, while simultaneously asserting her own authority as a player on the grand stage of Mediterranean politics. The famous image of Cleopatra sailing up the Tiber River in Rome, adorned in regal splendor, underscores the theatricality and political genius of the queen. She captivated the Roman elite, demonstrating wealth, sophistication, and intelligence. Her presence was a challenge to traditional Roman norms, a demonstration that Egypt and its queen would not be subjugated but respected. Yet this attention also created tension. Cleopatra's presence in Rome was controversial. Roman senators and politicians viewed her with suspicion, fearing that her influence over Antony and the remnants of Caesar's supporters could destabilize the delicate balance of power. Cleopatra, ever astute, understood these perceptions and used them to her advantage. She navigated the fine line between admiration, fear, and political leverage, ensuring that she remained a central figure in the unfolding drama of Roman politics. As Antony and Cleopatra's partnership deepened, their ambitions brought them into direct conflict with Octavian. This rivalry was not only personal but ideological. Octavian represented the continuity of Rome's traditional order, while Antony and Cleopatra symbolized the fusion of Roman and Egyptian power, a challenge to the established hierarchy. Cleopatra's role in this conflict cannot be understated. She provided Antony with resources, strategic insight, and political counsel, helping to shape military and diplomatic decisions. Her knowledge of the region, combined with her understanding of Roman politics, made her an indispensable partner to Antony. The political and personal stakes were immense. Cleopatra was acutely aware that failure could mean the loss of her kingdom, her family, and her life. She was also aware that success could elevate her and Egypt to unprecedented heights of power and influence. Every decision she made had consequences not only for herself, but for the fate of nations. The alliance between Cleopatra and Antony culminated in the Battle of Actium in 31 BCE, a decisive naval confrontation that would determine the fate of Egypt, Rome, and the Mediterranean world. Cleopatra's strategic involvement in Antony's campaigns reflected her deep understanding of military and political dynamics. She provided not only counsel but also critical logistical and financial support, ensuring that Antony's forces were well supplied and coordinated. Cleopatra's life during this period demonstrates the extraordinary combination of intelligence, courage, and ambition that defined her reign. She was a queen who understood the delicate interplay of power, diplomacy, and personal relationships. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony were not merely romantic entanglements. They were strategic decisions that shaped the destiny of Egypt and left an indelible mark on history. Cleopatra's story during her alliances with Rome illustrates the ways in which leadership, intelligence, and charisma can influence the course of events on a grand scale. She was a master of political theater, using appearance, symbolism, and rhetoric to project power, inspire loyalty, and challenge perceptions. Cleopatra's interactions with Rome were a delicate balancing act of diplomacy, strategy, and personal engagement, a testament to her extraordinary capabilities as a ruler. In her engagement with Caesar and Antony, Cleopatra demonstrated an understanding of the broader historical forces at play. She recognized the importance of timing, opportunity, and perception. Every alliance, every public appearance, and every political maneuver was calculated to strengthen her position and secure the future of Egypt. Cleopatra's relationships with these Roman leaders also reflect the complex interplay of love, ambition, and strategy. While romance was undoubtedly part of the story, it was inseparable from the political calculations that defined her reign. Her ability to combine personal influence with strategic insight underscores her remarkable talent as a leader. The period of Cleopatra's life during her alliances with Rome was marked by extraordinary challenges and unprecedented opportunities. She navigated these challenges with intelligence, courage, and foresight, ensuring that Egypt remained a sovereign and powerful kingdom even as Rome's shadow loomed ever larger. Cleopatra's life demonstrates the ways in which individuals can shape history through a combination of intellect, ambition, and strategic action. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony were pivotal moments not only in her own life but in the history of the Mediterranean world. They illustrate the power of diplomacy, the complexity of political relationships, and the enduring influence of a ruler who understood the nuances of leadership and statecraft. Cleopatra's story during this period is one of resilience, ingenuity, and vision. She was a queen who faced extraordinary circumstances and navigated them with skill and determination. Her alliances with Rome exemplify the intersection of personal ambition and political strategy. revealing a leader capable of shaping the course of history through both intellect and action. Cleopatra's engagement with Caesar and Antony reflects the timeless principles of leadership: understanding the environment, recognizing opportunities, building alliances, and exercising influence with wisdom and foresight. Her life is a testament to the enduring power of intellect, courage, and strategic thinking in shaping both personal destiny and the fate of nations. The story of Cleopatra and Rome is not merely a tale of romance or political intrigue. It is a narrative that captures the essence of power, diplomacy, and human ambition. Cleopatra's ability to navigate this complex world demonstrates her extraordinary capabilities as a leader and strategist. Her alliances with Caesar and Antony reveal the depth of her intelligence, the sophistication of her political insight, and the boldness of her vision. Cleopatra's life during this period remains a source of fascination because it encapsulates the drama, complexity, and grandeur of history itself. It is a story of a queen who understood the delicate balance of power, the importance of alliances, and the ways in which perception can influence reality. Cleopatra's engagement with Rome, with all its risks and rewards, highlights her exceptional abilities as a ruler and her enduring legacy as one of history's most remarkable figures. The world of Cleopatra and Antony was one of immense wealth, power, and ambition, yet it was also a world of fragile alliances, ruthless enemies, and dangerous decisions. By the time of the events leading up to the Battle of Actium, Cleopatra's life and reign had been defined by a combination of bold political maneuvering, personal courage, and strategic alliances. She had faced every challenge with intelligence and audacity, but the ultimate test of her rule would come on the waters off the western coast of Greece in one of history's most dramatic and decisive naval battles. The year was 31 BCE, and the Mediterranean was a theater of war and political intrigue. Antony and Cleopatra, having consolidated power in the eastern provinces of the Roman world, faced the growing threat of Octavian, Caesar's heir and a man whose ambition and strategic mind rivaled that of any ruler Cleopatra had encountered. The stakes were enormous. If Antony and Cleopatra won, Egypt could maintain its independence, and their combined influence could reshape the political landscape of the Mediterranean. If they lost, the consequences would be catastrophic. Egypt would fall under Roman control, their dynastic ambitions would be extinguished, and their lives would be in grave danger. Antony and Cleopatra had prepared meticulously. Cleopatra brought not only her wealth and resources, but also her political acumen and strategic insight. She understood that the battle was not only about ships and soldiers, but also about morale, perception, and symbolism. Cleopatra's fleet was designed not merely for combat. It was a display of power, designed to inspire confidence in her allies and intimidate her enemies. The fleet itself was a marvel, a combination of Egyptian and Greek shipbuilding techniques, heavily armed and well-manned. Cleopatra personally oversaw the preparations, ensuring that every detail reflected her commitment to victory. She understood that leadership was as much about presence and perception as it was about strategy. As the two fleets met near the promontory of Actium, the tension in the air was palpable. Historians describe a scene of immense scale, hundreds of ships, thousands of soldiers, and the eyes of empires watching a conflict that could determine the fate of nations. Cleopatra's presence on the flagship of her fleet symbolized her direct involvement in the battle. She was not a distant monarch issuing orders from a palace. She was actively engaged in the events that would shape her kingdom's future. Antony, confident in his military experience, took command of the main fleet. His decisions would determine the immediate tactical outcomes, but Cleopatra's role as a provider of resources, strategy, and morale was equally crucial. Yet despite the preparation and ambition, the battle did not unfold as Antony and Cleopatra had hoped. Octavian's forces, commanded by Agrippa, demonstrated superior maneuverability and coordination. The engagement quickly turned against Antony, with many of his ships overwhelmed, outmaneuvered, or damaged. In the chaos of combat, Antony's forces began to falter. Cleopatra, recognizing the danger, made a decisive and controversial move. She withdrew her own fleet from the battle and sailed back toward Egypt. Historical accounts vary on the reasoning behind this action. Some suggest that Cleopatra's withdrawal was a tactical retreat, intended to preserve her forces for future defense and to ensure the survival of Egypt. Others argue that it was a moment of self-preservation, a recognition that the battle was lost and that the survival of the queen herself was paramount. Antony, seeing Cleopatra's fleet depart, initially interpreted it as betrayal, though later accounts suggest he understood the strategic necessity. Nevertheless, the outcome of Actium was devastating. Antony's remaining forces were defeated, his army scattered, and the dream of a combined Antony-Cleopatra dominion over the Mediterranean effectively shattered. The psychological impact of the defeat was immense. Antony and Cleopatra's political and personal partnership had been tested in the most extreme conditions, and the loss at Actium represented not only a military failure but also the collapse of their broader strategic ambitions. Following the defeat, Antony and Cleopatra retreated to Alexandria, the capital of Egypt. Their position was precarious. Octavian's forces were advancing, and there was little hope of reinforcements from allies in the Roman world. Cleopatra, ever aware of the stakes, began preparing for the inevitability of confrontation with Octavian. The queen faced a delicate and dangerous task, maintaining the loyalty of her subjects, preserving the dignity of her reign, and managing Antony's own increasingly desperate state of mind. Antony's mental and physical condition deteriorated under the pressure. Reports suggest that he was tormented by the defeat, the perceived abandonment by Cleopatra, and the looming threat of capture by Octavian. Despite his fear and despair, he remained committed to Egypt and to Cleopatra, attempting to organize defenses and retain control of the situation. But the forces of history were against them. Octavian, a master strategist and political operator, moved swiftly, cutting off avenues of escape and isolating Antony and Cleopatra in Alexandria. The city itself became a tense and symbolic battleground, a place where the fate of empires hung in the balance. Cleopatra, as always, demonstrated remarkable presence of mind. She orchestrated political maneuvers, communicated with her allies, and worked tirelessly to maintain morale among her people. She understood that the survival of her kingdom depended not only on military engagement but also on psychological strength, the perception of power, and the cultivation of loyalty. As Octavian's forces approached, Antony made a fateful decision. Believing that all was lost and that capture was imminent, he took his own life. The act was both personal and symbolic, a demonstration of his despair and his unwillingness to see Cleopatra humiliated or paraded in Rome. Cleopatra was left alone, facing the full weight of Octavian's advancing power. Her situation was desperate, yet she remained resolute. The queen refused to surrender publicly, understanding that her personal dignity and the honor of her reign were at stake. Historical accounts tell us that Cleopatra sought to negotiate with Octavian, attempting to secure terms that would protect Egypt and her people. Yet the political reality was clear. Octavian was determined to assert Roman dominance, and Cleopatra's position was increasingly untenable. Faced with the inevitability of capture, Cleopatra made a decision that would become legendary. She chose to end her own life, preserving her dignity and control over her own fate in a way that few rulers could manage. According to the most famous accounts, she allowed an asp, a venomous snake, to bite her, though alternative theories suggest poison or a combination of methods. Cleopatra's death was both an act of defiance and a strategic assertion of agency. By controlling the circumstances of her death, she denied Octavian the spectacle of her humiliation and maintained the narrative of power and dignity that had characterized her reign. The aftermath of the Battle of Actium and Cleopatra's death marked the end of an era. Egypt was absorbed into the Roman Empire, the Ptolemaic dynasty came to an abrupt conclusion, and Octavian emerged as the unchallenged ruler of Rome. Even in defeat, Cleopatra's legacy endured. Her life and death were remembered not only for the political consequences, but also for the extraordinary courage, intelligence, and charisma she had displayed. The fall of Cleopatra and Antony illustrates the complexities of leadership, the interplay of personal and political decisions, and the profound consequences of military defeat. Cleopatra's involvement in Actium was not merely as a passive observer, she was an active participant, providing resources, counsel, and strategic insight, even as the tide of battle turned against her. The Queen's actions during this period reveal a remarkable understanding of power, perception, and survival. Cleopatra's story also underscores the importance of symbolism in leadership. Her presence on the flagship, her strategic withdrawals, and her ultimate choice of death were all acts laden with meaning, designed to project authority, maintain dignity, and influence historical narrative. Even in the face of overwhelming odds, she remained a figure who commanded attention, respect, and intrigue. The Battle of Actium, while a military confrontation, was also a battle of wills, perception, and political acumen. Cleopatra's role demonstrates that leadership is not only about the number of ships or soldiers, but also about the ability to inspire, strategize, and act decisively under pressure. The fall of Antony and Cleopatra also highlights the harsh realities of political and military life in the ancient world. Alliances could shift, fortunes could change rapidly, and the consequences of defeat were often fatal. Cleopatra's ability to navigate these realities up to the very end reflects her extraordinary skill and resilience as a ruler. In examining the fall of Cleopatra, we also see the intersection of personal ambition and historical forces. Her relationship with Antony, while deeply personal, was inseparable from the political and military context in which it unfolded. Their combined power threatened Rome, and their defeat reshaped the political landscape, ultimately paving the way for the rise of Octavian as Augustus, the first Roman emperor. Cleopatra's experience during the fall of her reign is instructive in understanding the complexities of leadership, strategy, and legacy. Her life demonstrates that even the most intelligent, ambitious, and capable leaders are subject to the forces of history, yet the manner in which they confront these forces can leave a lasting impact on the world and on the memory of humanity. Cleopatra's courage in the face of imminent defeat, her strategic withdrawal during the Battle of Actium, and her choice of death rather than humiliation are enduring testaments to her strength and resolve. The events surrounding Actium and her subsequent fall continue to captivate historians, scholars, and audiences alike because they encapsulate the drama, complexity, and human dimensions of history. Cleopatra's story is not only about military defeat but about the resilience of intellect, the power of strategy, and the enduring impact of personal decisions on the course of history. Even after her death, Cleopatra's legacy persisted. Her name became synonymous with intelligence, beauty, political skill, and the complex interplay of love and power. Her life and fall illustrate the extraordinary challenges faced by rulers in the ancient world and the ways in which individuals can shape history through ambition, strategy, and courage. The story of the Battle of Actium and Cleopatra's final days is a narrative of extraordinary scale and intensity. It is a tale of military strategy, political maneuvering, personal courage, and historical consequence. Cleopatra's involvement in these events underscores her remarkable abilities as a leader, strategist, and figure of history. The fall of Cleopatra and Antony is also a reminder that history is shaped not only by victories, but by responses to adversity, the exercise of agency in the face of overwhelming odds, and the ability to leave a lasting imprint on the world. Cleopatra's decisions during this period reflect her understanding of power, honor, and legacy. highlighting the ways in which one individual's actions can reverberate through centuries. In the end, Cleopatra's life and fall are inseparable from the broader historical currents of her time: the rise of Rome, the decline of the Ptolemaic dynasty, and the complex interplay of politics, war, and personal ambition. Yet even in defeat, Cleopatra's story continues to inspire awe, fascination, and admiration, a testament to the enduring power of her intellect, courage, and vision as one of history's most extraordinary rulers. Her role in Actium and her final acts of defiance ensure that Cleopatra's legacy is not merely one of tragedy, but one of extraordinary strength, skill, and historical significance, a story that resonates across the centuries and remains a cornerstone of our understanding of leadership, power, and human ambition. After Cleopatra's death, the world shifted in ways that would echo for centuries. Egypt, once a proud and independent kingdom ruled by one of history's most brilliant monarchs, became a Roman province. Octavian, the future Augustus, consolidated power over the Mediterranean, and the Ptolemaic dynasty that had ruled Egypt for nearly 3 centuries was extinguished. Yet even in death, Cleopatra's presence remained larger than life. She had ruled not only through intelligence and political acumen, but through sheer force of personality, symbolism, and the strategic use of perception. While her body was gone from the living world, one mystery endured above all others: where was Cleopatra buried? Unlike the tombs of her predecessors, which were well documented and often monumental, Cleopatra's final resting place vanished from history, leaving a puzzle that has fascinated historians, archaeologists, and treasure hunters for more than 2 millennia. Ancient sources, including Plutarch and Cassius Dio, provide tantalizing clues, but no definitive answers. They tell us that Cleopatra was buried alongside Mark Antony, in a tomb they had chosen together. This alone was remarkable, for Antony had been a Roman general, and Cleopatra an Egyptian queen. Their shared tomb symbolized the union of 2 worlds. But beyond this basic assertion, details become frustratingly scarce. Plutarch, writing over a century later, mentions that the tomb existed in Alexandria, but its precise location was never revealed. Scholars have debated the possibilities ever since. Was the tomb a grand structure, visible to the world, or a hidden chamber designed for secrecy? Some theories suggest Cleopatra, aware of the fate that might await her body if discovered by Rome, deliberately chose a burial site that would be concealed and protected. The notion of concealment fits with her personality. Throughout her life, Cleopatra had demonstrated remarkable strategic intelligence, often acting with foresight and a keen understanding of consequences. The tomb's absence from the historical record has fueled centuries of speculation. Alexandria itself, a city built by Alexander the Great and a hub of wealth, learning, and culture, underwent numerous earthquakes, floods, and human interventions over the centuries. Large parts of the ancient city now lie beneath the Mediterranean, swallowed by rising waters and the shifting sands of time. Could Cleopatra's tomb be submerged, lost to history beneath the waves? Modern archaeologists consider this a plausible scenario. Excavations in the area have revealed submerged structures, statues, and remnants of monumental architecture that suggest Alexandria once contained an incredible wealth of tombs, temples, and palaces. If Cleopatra's tomb lies among them, it could be buried beneath layers of silt, hidden for millennia from human eyes. Another area of interest is Taposiris Magna, a temple complex located west of Alexandria. This site has long been associated with Cleopatra due to inscriptions, coins, and artifacts discovered in and around the complex. Archaeologists have found remnants of statues, decorative reliefs, and burial chambers that suggest the site may have held royal significance. Some researchers theorize that Cleopatra and Antony's tomb may be located beneath or near Taposiris Magna, a place both secure and symbolically powerful. Over the past few decades, expeditions at Taposiris Magna have revealed mummies, tombs, and inscriptions that hint at royal burials. A series of underground chambers has been uncovered, with steps descending into darkness and walls adorned with hieroglyphs and inscriptions. Some of these may have belonged to lesser nobles or priests, but others remain tantalizingly unexamined. Egyptologists continue to search for clues that could confirm the tomb's existence, and each discovery raises more questions than it answers. Coins bearing Cleopatra's image, fragments of statues, and inscriptions referencing her reign have all been found in proximity to Taposiris Magna, adding fuel to the theory that this temple may hold the final resting place of the last Ptolemaic queen. Yet despite decades of excavation, definitive evidence has eluded even the most dedicated researchers. The mystery of Cleopatra's tomb is compounded by the political and historical upheavals that have affected Egypt over the centuries. Following her death, Egypt became a Roman province, and subsequent rulers may have intentionally concealed, destroyed, or repurposed royal burial sites. Tomb robbers, both ancient and modern, have also played a role in the disappearance of such treasures. The possibility that Cleopatra's tomb was looted soon after her death cannot be dismissed. Ancient historians suggest that Octavian would have had a vested interest in controlling the narrative surrounding Cleopatra and Antony. Allowing the tomb to remain prominent could have undermined his authority or served as a rallying point for those opposed to Roman domination. Concealment, destruction, or repurposing of the tomb would have been an effective way to erase the queen's influence while preserving political control. In addition to its physical disappearance, the tomb of Cleopatra has also been obscured by myth and legend. Over centuries, tales of hidden treasures, secret chambers, and magical curses have grown around the queen and her final resting place. These stories, while often exaggerated, reflect the deep fascination humanity has with Cleopatra, her life, and her dramatic end. The Queen of Egypt has inspired countless works of literature, theater, and film, often portraying her as a figure of extraordinary beauty and intelligence, whose death is as mysterious as her life. These legends have at times both hindered and inspired serious archaeological inquiry. The romanticized image of Cleopatra may have overshadowed the sober historical investigation needed to locate her tomb. Yet it is precisely her legendary status that has kept the search alive, drawing researchers and enthusiasts to the sands and waters of Egypt year after year. Modern technology offers new hope in the quest to locate Cleopatra's tomb. Ground-penetrating radar, sonar imaging, and 3D mapping have allowed archaeologists to explore areas previously inaccessible. These tools can detect anomalies beneath the earth or underwater, pointing researchers toward potential burial sites. Satellite imagery has also been employed to identify features that may indicate the presence of hidden structures such as tombs or temples, long buried under centuries of sediment. Despite these advances, the search remains extraordinarily challenging. Alexandria has been heavily built over, and much of its ancient landscape has been destroyed or altered by natural and human forces. Rising sea levels have submerged portions of the city, and centuries of construction have changed the topography in ways that obscure historical records. Every excavation is a delicate balance of hope, caution, and painstaking labor. Each discovery at sites like Taposiris Magna is carefully documented, analyzed, and preserved, yet it often raises as many questions as it answers. Coins bearing Cleopatra's face, fragments of inscriptions, and mummified remains have all been found, but none have definitively confirmed the location of the queen's tomb. The mystery persists. Scholars also consider the possibility that Cleopatra may have chosen an unconventional burial site, one designed to remain hidden from both enemies and history. Unlike some of her predecessors, who built monumental tombs visible to all, Cleopatra may have prioritized secrecy and security, creating a tomb that would be nearly impossible to locate. This theory aligns with her character as a ruler who consistently used intelligence, cunning, and strategic thinking to maintain her power. Cleopatra's tomb may not only contain her remains, but also artifacts of immense historical value. It could reveal details about her reign, her religious practices, her relationships with Antony and other rulers, and the culture of late Ptolemaic Egypt. Such a discovery would transform our understanding of one of history's most fascinating figures, providing insights into her life and death that have been lost for over 2,000 years. Yet even if the tomb is never found, its legend continues to captivate the imagination. Scholars, treasure hunters, filmmakers, and writers are drawn to the idea of a lost queen, a tomb buried in the sands or beneath the waves, holding secrets and treasures that have eluded humanity for millennia. The allure of the unknown, combined with Cleopatra's enduring fame, ensures that her tomb remains one of history's greatest mysteries. Every year, new expeditions and studies attempt to bring clarity to the question. Some researchers focus on textual evidence, scrutinizing ancient manuscripts, accounts from Roman historians, and archaeological records. Others use scientific methods, employing advanced imaging technologies and geological surveys to identify potential sites. Each approach brings new hope, yet also underscores the difficulty of the task. The search for Cleopatra's tomb is as much about the journey as it is about the destination. It is a quest that connects us to the past, allowing us to explore the world she inhabited, the choices she made, and the legacy she left behind. The tomb, whether found or not, represents a tangible link to a queen whose life continues to inspire fascination, study, and admiration. The mystery of Cleopatra's final resting place also raises broader questions about history, memory, and preservation. How much of the past is lost to time, and how much can we recover? Cleopatra's life and tomb remind us that history is often incomplete, shaped by those who write it, and obscured by the passage of centuries. Yet the pursuit of knowledge, the careful study of artifacts, and the application of modern technology provide hope that even the most elusive secrets may one day be uncovered. As scholars continue to search, they are motivated not only by curiosity, but by the recognition of Cleopatra's profound impact on the ancient world. She was a ruler whose intelligence, political skill, and ambition shaped the destiny of Egypt and influenced the course of Roman history. To locate her tomb would be to reclaim a part of that history, to uncover the final chapter of a story that has captivated humanity for millennia. In the end, the mystery of Cleopatra's tomb is more than an archaeological puzzle. It is a testament to the enduring fascination of a queen who defied expectations, navigated the treacherous waters of politics and empire, and left a legacy that has transcended time. Whether the tomb lies hidden beneath the sands, submerged beneath the Mediterranean, or destroyed by the forces of history, Cleopatra's story remains a symbol of power, intelligence, and enduring intrigue. The search continues, driven by the hope that one day the world may finally uncover the final resting place of the last Pharaoh of Egypt, a tomb that holds not only her remains, but also the secrets, treasures, and stories of a life that shaped the ancient world in ways that continue to resonate to this day. Until then, the sands of Egypt keep their secrets, and Cleopatra's tomb remains a mystery that challenges archaeologists, historians, and adventurers alike. A silent testament to a queen whose life and death have fascinated the world for more than 2,000 years. Even centuries after Cleopatra's death, the fascination with her life and the mystery of her tomb has never diminished. While the queen herself disappeared into history, her story endured, passed down through ancient historians, Roman records, and later scholars who marveled at her intelligence, political acumen, and unmatched charisma. But the tomb, her final resting place, remained elusive. For archaeologists, historians, and adventurers alike, the quest to locate Cleopatra's tomb has become one of the most compelling pursuits in the study of ancient history. In modern times, the search for Cleopatra's tomb has intensified, fueled by advances in technology, renewed interest in Egyptology, and a recognition of the tomb's potential to shed light on one of the most enigmatic figures of antiquity. Scholars have turned to both textual evidence and physical exploration, combing through ancient writings, archaeological sites, and artifacts, in the hope of uncovering a clue that might finally solve this centuries-old mystery. One of the primary sites of interest is Taposiris Magna, located approximately 40 kilometers west of Alexandria. This temple complex, dedicated to Osiris, the god of the afterlife, has long been associated with royal burials and sacred rites. Excavations here have revealed underground chambers, stairways, and relics that suggest it may have been a burial site for important figures. Some researchers believe that Cleopatra and Mark Antony were interred in a tomb associated with this temple, a hidden chamber designed to protect their remains from both looters and the passage of time. Over the past few decades, teams of archaeologists have meticulously excavated Taposiris Magna, uncovering evidence that has sparked both excitement and debate. Mummies and tombs of unknown nobles have been discovered, inscriptions referencing Ptolemaic royalty have been documented, and coins bearing Cleopatra's likeness have been unearthed. While no definitive confirmation of Cleopatra's tomb has yet been made, each discovery adds to the tantalizing possibility that the queen's final resting place may still lie hidden beneath the sands. Modern technology has revolutionized the search for Cleopatra's tomb. Ground-penetrating radar allows researchers to detect anomalies beneath the surface, revealing potential underground chambers and tunnels without the need for destructive excavation. Sonar technology has been deployed in areas where ancient Alexandria now lies submerged, mapping underwater structures and offering a glimpse of the city as it once was. Drones equipped with high-resolution cameras and multispectral sensors provide a bird's-eye view of archaeological sites, helping scholars identify features that may indicate tombs or other hidden structures. Satellite imagery also plays a critical role, particularly in mapping regions that have undergone significant geological or human-driven changes over the centuries. By comparing modern images with historical records, researchers can hypothesize locations where Cleopatra's tomb may be located. Despite these advances, the task remains daunting. Alexandria, once a vibrant hub of the ancient world, has undergone extensive transformation. Earthquakes, floods, rising sea levels, and centuries of urban development have dramatically altered the landscape. Significant portions of the ancient city now lie beneath the Mediterranean, submerged for centuries and challenging even the most sophisticated technology to reveal their secrets. Each excavation in this area requires patience, precision, and interdisciplinary collaboration. Archaeologists, historians, geologists, and engineers work together, combining expertise to navigate the complex layers of sediment, water, and human activity. Every artifact, inscription, and anomaly must be carefully documented, analyzed, and cross-referenced with historical records. Even small discoveries, such as coins, statues, or fragments of hieroglyphs, can provide important clues that refine search strategies and guide further exploration. Some scholars suggest that Cleopatra may have intentionally chosen a burial site that prioritized secrecy over grandeur, unlike the monumental tombs of earlier pharaohs, which were designed to awe and impress. Cleopatra's tomb may have been modest in appearance but highly strategic in location. Hidden from the prying eyes of Rome and protected from potential looters, such a tomb would reflect her intelligence, foresight, and understanding of political realities. This theory is supported by the fact that Octavian, who ultimately conquered Egypt, would have had every reason to suppress or obscure the queen's final resting place. A prominent tomb could have become a symbol of resistance or a rallying point for those who opposed Roman authority, making secrecy a prudent choice. The search for Cleopatra's tomb has also been influenced by discoveries in other areas of Egypt and the eastern Mediterranean. Scholars have examined ancient texts, comparing references to locations, structures, and religious sites in the hopes of triangulating a precise location. Coins, inscriptions, and artifacts from the Ptolemaic era provide additional context, offering clues about burial customs, royal iconography, and ceremonial practices that could help identify a likely tomb site. Underwater archaeology has added a new dimension to the search. Alexandria's harbor, once a bustling center of trade and royal activity, has yielded remains of temples, palaces, and streets that now lie beneath the sea. The use of sonar and submersible vehicles allows researchers to explore these submerged areas, mapping structures that may have been part of Cleopatra's world. Some archaeologists speculate that portions of the queen's tomb may lie beneath water, preserved in a chamber protected from both human interference and the ravages of time. The possibility of underwater discovery adds both excitement and complexity to the search. Each expedition brings hope but also challenges. Excavating submerged structures requires specialized equipment, careful planning, and considerable resources. Archaeologists must contend with sediment, marine life, and the delicate preservation of artifacts. Even with these obstacles, each new discovery provides a piece of the puzzle, gradually revealing the historical landscape in which Cleopatra lived and died. Despite the decades of research and thousands of hours spent in excavation and analysis, the definitive tomb of Cleopatra has yet to be found. This ongoing mystery has fueled speculation, inspired documentaries, and captivated the public imagination. Treasure hunters and amateur archaeologists are drawn to the allure of hidden gold, jewels, and royal artifacts, though serious scholars caution that the true value of Cleopatra's tomb lies not in material wealth, but in the historical knowledge it could provide. The tomb, if located, could offer unprecedented insights into the queen's reign, her religious practices, and her life alongside Antony. It might contain inscriptions detailing political alliances, ceremonial objects reflecting Ptolemaic culture, and artifacts that reveal the daily life of Egypt's royal court. Each discovery would be a window into a world that has been lost to time, illuminating the culture, politics, and artistry of the late Ptolemaic period. Scholars also debate whether Cleopatra may have been buried with Antony in a shared tomb, or whether separate burial sites were used. Ancient sources suggest a joint tomb, symbolizing their partnership and shared ambition, yet no evidence has conclusively confirmed this. Researchers continue to examine both textual references and archaeological evidence in the hope of determining whether the tomb was indeed a dual burial, and if so, where it might be located. The ongoing search is a testament to the enduring fascination with Cleopatra. Her story, marked by intelligence, beauty, political skill, and dramatic events, resonates across centuries, inspiring countless retellings and fueling the desire to uncover the ultimate truth about her life and death. Each archaeological expedition, each technological advance, and each scholarly inquiry brings humanity a step closer to solving one of history's most enduring mysteries. The mystery of Cleopatra's tomb also speaks to broader questions about the preservation of history and the impermanence of human achievement. For thousands of years, Egypt's monuments, cities, and burial sites have been subject to natural disasters, human conflict, and the inexorable passage of time. Cleopatra's tomb, like so many ancient treasures, reminds us that history is fragile, that what survives is often a matter of chance, and that even the most famous figures can leave behind mysteries that endure long after their lives have ended. Yet the pursuit of the tomb is as much about understanding Cleopatra herself as it is about archaeology. By seeking the queen's final resting place, researchers attempt to uncover the narrative of her life, her ambitions, her triumphs, and her failures. The tomb represents the final chapter in a story that has captivated humanity for millennia, a tangible connection to one of history's most extraordinary rulers. Each discovery, whether a coin, an inscription, or a fragment of ancient architecture, contributes to this ongoing narrative. The modern search also reflects the evolution of archaeology as a discipline. In the past, excavations were often driven by treasure-seeking or curiosity, sometimes resulting in damage to sites or loss of historical information. Today, research is conducted with meticulous care, employing interdisciplinary collaboration and advanced technologies to maximize the information gained while preserving the integrity of the sites. This approach increases the likelihood that, when Cleopatra's tomb is finally discovered, it will yield a wealth of knowledge that transforms our understanding of the ancient world. Beyond the technical challenges, the search is also shaped by political, cultural, and social factors. Egypt's modern government plays a role in facilitating and regulating archaeological work, balancing tourism, preservation, and national pride. International collaborations bring expertise and funding, allowing for sophisticated exploration, yet they must navigate complex legal and cultural frameworks. Every excavation is a negotiation between science, history, and the present-day realities of the land Cleopatra once ruled. In recent years, some archaeologists have proposed new theories about the tomb's location, suggesting alternative sites within and around Alexandria. These proposals are often based on a combination of historical records, geological analysis, and patterns observed in other Ptolemaic royal burials. While these theories remain speculative, they demonstrate the dynamic nature of research and the persistence of human curiosity in solving historical mysteries. The allure of Cleopatra's tomb is not only in the artifacts it may contain, but in what it represents: a bridge to the past, a direct link to a ruler whose life and decisions shaped the history of an entire civilization. Each expedition, each study, and each debate keeps the queen alive in the collective imagination, maintaining a connection between contemporary society and the world of ancient Egypt. As the search continues, the tomb remains both a symbol and a challenge. It represents the enduring mysteries of history, the limits of human knowledge, and the relentless drive to uncover truth. Whether it is eventually found beneath sand, hidden in a temple, or submerged beneath the waters of Alexandria, the quest for Cleopatra's tomb is a journey that combines adventure, scholarship, and the timeless fascination with one of the most extraordinary women in history. Cleopatra's legacy, intertwined with the mystery of her final resting place, continues to captivate the world. The modern search, employing every available tool from radar imaging to underwater exploration, is a testament to the enduring human desire to connect with the past. It is a reminder that history is not static, that mysteries can endure for millennia, and that the story of a single individual can resonate across time, inspiring curiosity, scholarship, and imagination. The tomb may still be out there, hidden in the sands or beneath the waves, waiting to reveal its secrets. And until that day comes, Cleopatra remains both a historical figure and an enigma, a queen whose intelligence, ambition, and life continue to intrigue, and whose final resting place challenges us to look deeper, search harder, and never stop asking the questions that connect us to the past.